If you see this video, press a few buttons because I want to educate some people today on some women with dwarfism who are oftentimes left out of the conversation. These are some of the sisters from the 𝗍𝗶𝗧 family. The 𝗍𝗶𝗧s were a family of Hungarian Jewish performers, 7 of which had dwarfism. They were imprisoned during World War II and experimented on for months, and the women especially received the brunt of this. Thankfully, they all survived and lived long lives. This is 𝗍𝗂𝗹𝗁, and she was a popular woman in Spain in the 1980s. Her husband also had dwarfism and was in a troupe of all dwarf bullfighters, so their wedding was the talk of the town. This is one of the most powerful women with dwarfism in the early 1900s. She was a freak show performer under the management of P.T. Barnum, and although she was exploited all of her life, she was able to receive some of the money that was being made. She received lavish gifts from Tiffany & Co. She was in the news all the time. She was so popular that even Abraham Lincoln invited her to the White House after she got married. And it said that he made a height joke about her, and she immediately snapped back at him, which he liked. This is Maria Peters, and she was a sideshow performer that was known as being a dwarf cannibal. Paraded all around the globe as being an ant-eating, tree-climbing freak of nature. But ultimately, Maria was just a person who deserved to have been treated like one. This is Sammy Bryant, a gospel singer who ended up working with Aretha Franklin and touring with her. This is Daisy Earles, and she was a German actress who was best known for her role in Freaks and The Wizard of Oz. I don't know much about this woman other than that this photo was taken in 1970 in Romania, and she just looks like the sweetest, most pure, wholesome person, and I absolutely love her. This is Judy Lynn Del Rey, and she was a science fiction editor. She was a key component in obtaining the book rights for Star Wars before the original films came out. Last person I don't actually have a photo for because we don't have a recorded photo of this person. Her name was Sarah Lay, previously Sarah Smith, and she was the wife of Benjamin Lay. Not only was she instrumental in convincing other Quakers to start banning slavery within their ranks, but she also fed and educated and housed and clothed thousands of people who were enslaved from Barbados to Philadelphia to England. I did a podcast episode, and my YouTube channel will definitely feature a lengthy video on both of them. I wish they would teach more of this stuff in school because I think it's important to know about the history of people in general, but until then, you can help spread the word by spreading this video with at least, let's say, 5 people that you know. 3 if you want to be lazy. It's up to us to educate people, and I appreciate you guys being here. My name is Aubrey Small, this is Dwarfism History. Love ya. Keep going.
And if a group of people tried to do this exact same thing and they were from literally any other religion, there would not only be an extremely high amount of police officers on the premises ASAP, but it would also be broadcast all over the news as an act of terrorism. Just saying.
She's back! This is everyone's annual reminder that Shenyun is put on by a cult called Falun Gong that's responsible for the deaths of over 1,000 of its members. Falun Gong is not an ancient Chinese spiritual tradition. It was created in the 90s. They're against gay marriage and interracial marriage, and they performed arranged marriages on their compound in upstate New York, where they had to flee to because they're being persecuted by the Chinese government for being so freaking awful. But we love predatory cults here in the United States, like the Mormon Church and the Church of Scientology. Scientology tells people that they can cure their illnesses using their mind via something called Dianetics that they completely made up. Falun Gong does something similar, and they encourage their practitioners not to trust modern medicine or go to hospitals when they have a medical emergency. That's why so many of them have died. In China, the government only allows the traditional approved religions. This prevents new predatory cults from popping up and taking advantage of people. Some parts of China even have laws that prevent children under the age of 18 from being brought into churches or other places of worship. Interesting. But yeah, you can see satellite photos of Falun Gong's creepy cult compound and Shenyun's acrobatic training school in upstate New York using Google Maps. And Falun Gong practitioners can be really pushy. They will go and harass store owners to put posters up in their store windows.
是邪教的，你走不走？邪教是共产党讲的。这他妈的，你走不死，你跟我走吧。是啊，那是他妈的。
If you don't support their predatory cult, then you should push back. Don't tear posters down from somebody else's property, but spread the word because a lot of people don't really know what's going on. They're also right-wing political fanatics with their own newspaper called the Epoch Times. They've produced pro-Trump documentaries, and now they're starting to content farm on Twitter, which is making me a little bit nervous. Like, what is the end goal here? A lot of Westerners will just give them a pass without really looking into what's going on because we exotify Asian spirituality. So even though this is a cult that popped up in the 90s, we give it the same weight that we give ancient Chinese traditions and spiritualities, but it's really not anything like that. I'm going to China at the end of the month, and when I went to the Chinese consulate in Midtown to pick up my visa, it was pouring rain, and these poor exploited cultists were standing outside in the pouring rain holding signs in front of the consulate all day long. These people are being taken advantage of because there's a lot of money involved, but in their own agency, they are religious fanatics. And when I was walking to the subway a different day, I saw one of those Christian fanatics yelling through a megaphone that everybody's gonna burn in hell. And I realized that these are two sides of the same coin. But one side, we're giving a fancy show in the nice theater in downtown to for some reason.
All right, we've got 40 seconds to break this down, so I'm going to go as fast as possible. If you haven't heard about what I'm about to describe, this is one of the most important decisions our government is going to make this year. Start the clock. Louisiana has the third highest cancer rate in the US, in part because we started fracking in 1947 and now have a surplus of natural gas we compress into liquid to move around via liquefied natural gas terminals like these. Even though we can make energy cheaper and more cleanly with other methods and know the consequences of unnecessarily burning fuel, those who own the supply want money for it now. So they built 7 terminals in these states and proposed 20 new projects in these states to up their ability to export to the whole world. This ups domestic natural gas prices by sending our supply elsewhere and means humanity will burn more faster because of the US unless we don't build the terminals. If the DOE says these projects aren't in the public's best interest, the companies won't be able to export to most countries, which would render the unbuilt projects unprofitable. And you can sign the petition to do that at stoplng.org.
The reason Taylor Swift is the perfect Time Magazine Person of the Year is because she represents the American ideal, right? Like, she is the white woman who's, like, pretty and thin and successful against the odds and has just the right amount of feminism to be palatable to liberals, but isn't too radical that she actually embodies what feminism is supposed to be. And so while there is an active genocide happening in Palestine, in Sudan, in Congo, in Tigray, and all these places that the US has inevitably had our hands in, they want to distract us by being like, actually, here's the ideal woman. If you all could just do more of this and less of that activism shit, then the imperialist project of the United States wouldn't be in jeopardy. And that is why she's perfect for this. She's being used as a prop to distract you from what's actually important, genocide. I'm sure you've seen that infographic about how Zelensky was like the, Time Magazine Person of the Year last year, and how then this year it's like, why are they ignoring a genocide? Because it's not in the best interest of protecting the American colonial project, duh. And to pull on a Rachel Cargle teaching, and if you don't know who Rachel Cargle is, please look her up. Who are the best people at uplifting and supporting the colonial projects in the United States? White women. We are great at this. Taylor Swift is one of our cultural poster children for whitewashing feminism, because every time she talks about it, it's because a man was mean to her. And like, of course she has experienced a shit ton of misogyny in her life. I am not negating that fact. I am pointing out that the times in which she invests in feminism are the times when it benefits her politically and business-wise. But feminism is intended to be intersectional. It's intended to be a framework in which we look at the world we live in and we go, okay, where on the spectrum of privilege does this experience fall, and where on the spectrum of my opportunities and my unique positionality can I help? What you don't see is Taylor Swift advocating against these genocides. One fucking Instagram post from her, and like, it would change the course of like American public opinion on this, the way that she got tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, fact check me, people to vote in the 2016 election. And so is that important? Yes, a lot of young people registered to vote. That's great, but it is limited to only protecting themselves and other white women against men, as opposed to using feminism as an intersectional framework for liberation of all oppressed people, not just white women. And that white feminism does not significantly jeopardize or threaten the power of the imperial regime of the United States. So the imperialist regime goes, oh, that's the ideal woman. She's pretty, she's blonde, she's thin, she makes music, she gets young girls happy, she gets people distracted from the genocide, and she embodies the like, you can fight for what you want, but just not too much. Don't fight too hard. Just like, take up your own cause and don't worry about other people. It refocuses us on this individualistic idea that we have as like people in America, that like we are the center, as opposed to putting somebody else like, I don't know, everybody who's focusing on Palestine right now that has care outside their own community. Because what happens when we start caring about communities outside our own, whether that's like literally like the next neighborhood over or that is across the ocean, we start to see empires fall and crumble. We start to strip our allegiance from the imperial state and we start to ally ourselves with each other. We become more powerful as a people and the imperialist structures become less powerful. And they don't want that. They want us to be quiet. They want us to be submissive and subservient to the interests of the empire and the colonial projects in which it is funding. And Taylor Swift, whether she realizes that or not, whether it's intentional or not, whether it's her personal politic or not, is being used as a tool of this. Resist it.
We're polyamorous. We know that you could never. We're polyamorous. You're going to say we have commitment issues while committing to multiple partners. We're polyamorous. Yes, we still feel jealousy sometimes. We are not more evolved. We're polyamorous. And yeah, we're probably going to talk about our theoretical compound someday. We're polyamorous. Yeah, we have Google Calendars. Oh, you'd like to go on a date? How about next Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m.? We're polyamorous. Yeah, we don't like unicorn hunters any more than you do. We're polyamorous. Not all of us play D&D, but a lot of us play D&D.
I like to keep lists, and I keep a list of things I love about Izzy, my partner, whom I live with. This is that list. Number 1, she falls asleep to Outdoor Boys videos. Like, I'll wake up at like 3 a.m. and just in the background be hearing the sound of someone chopping firewood in 3x speed. There's like a period of time where she's washing it and falling asleep, but not like all the way asleep. But she'll be pretty damn close and still be able to wake up to skip the ads and then go back to sleep. It takes a fire truck barreling through our front door to wake this girl up. She stirs for nothing except to go, oh, capitalism? No thanks. You know how sometimes dogs' ears will like flip inside out? Well, that is something that Izzy cannot abide. So she always has to flip it back. And when she does, she kneels down and she always says the same thing. So embarrassing. Number 3, whenever she puts in earbuds or puts on like headphones, she does the quintessential, like stereotypical, like, yeah, no, that's, I saw an article on that and I think that's something we should look into. If she can't hear herself, surely neither can I. Number 4, a couple days ago, I asked her if my makeup looked good and she went, oh yeah, you're so cute. I just want to pinch your little balls. Oh, she keeps you guessing. Some of you may remember one of my biggest videos on here. It has like 9 million views. I think it's pinned, of stuff that Izzy like said, like sleep talking wise. And 2 of those recently, I was getting up out of bed in the morning and to go make like breakfast and make her coffee and stuff. And I kissed her on the cheek and she went, Santa came early. And then like a couple days after that, I had told her in her sleep, I was like, oh, it's raining outside. And she went, it's raining? Nobody told me. And lastly for this video, a thing I love about Izzy, she feeds Piglet her own feet.
Take this one. It's a good one.
That's a horrible idea. And because it's me, I'm going to show you some prime examples of the reference. The problem is, this shit you wrote just look good. Case number 1.
Like 6-7-year-old, we're gonna expose this much skin on either side.
Okay, no, but can we talk about it? Because I am not conservative either, but absolutely not. Target, take those dresses down immediately. I began watching content about people bringing awareness to 𝗩𝗿𝗶𝗪 and how they save and download videos on here and what kind of videos they download on here. Absolutely not take them dresses down. Honestly, so serious. Why does a 6 or 7-year-old's hips even need to be exposed? What is the purpose? Who designed this? Whose idea was this? I want to know what their logic was behind exposing little girls' hips. Like, why? Like, of all skin to show, y'all want to expose skin that is the closest to a very private area? Are we thinking, is the brain in the room with us? I'm not even trying to be dramatic, but like, does anybody else not see this as weird?
Don't kill yourself. Choose spite instead. Hi, I'm Pat Lawler, and I was a medic in the military, meaning I've given this speech too many times, and I would like you not to do it. These next 3 weeks are statistically some of the worst for the folks who are thinking about it, so just don't. I know you've heard all of the reasons to stay before, but how about this one? You have to outlive Tommy Tuberville. Look at this petulant jackass. Why is he always pictured holding a football? Did you know that he makes people on the Hill call him Coach? Pictured here, Tommy Tuberville, rejected Rugrats villain, although some people say it's Tuberville. I don't know which one is worse. He's been holding up military promotions for the last several months until this week when his own party forced him to relent. Because Republicans in a closed-door meeting threatened to whip votes against him. So he relented on everyone under 3-star generals, putting through nearly 400 some odd promotions this week. Only none of those officers can move up because the top brass still isn't being promoted. So all the guys that are slightly under that can't move to their new positions. Tommy says he's doing this because he's mad that the military provides appropriate medical interventions to keep their troop strength up. It's definitely not because he wants to install loyalists at the highest ranks in the military when someone he prefers becomes the president. But why admit to the truth when you can gain political points with your garbage party by being against abortion? And he doesn't just hold up military promotions, he consistently walks into rooms with high-ranking generals and admirals and says things like, "I know more about the military than anybody here because I played college football." Look out, the master strategist is coming through, for he has played college football. He tosseth the pig skin. He haileth from the gridiron. And like 2 weeks ago, he said this was the weakest military to serve in his entire lifetime. So, I fucking hate this guy. And as long as he's alive and continues to try to destroy the country I fought for, I'm going to keep living. 'Cause fuck that. As long as assholes like this exist, so must I and so must you. I deeply hope that you find the love and community that will facilitate your growth and healing process. But if you can't because those things are hard, join me. Join me on this campaign of spite. Don't kill yourself. Outlast Tommy Tuberville.
31 hard to hear things that would have revolutionized my 20s in honor of my 31st birthday. Number 1,
your allergy to rejection is holding you back. Number 2,
people are not thinking about you, good or bad, as much as you think they are.
allow that to set you free.
Number 3, if they never talk to you unless you initiate it,
They don't like you.
Number 4, if they pretend not to know you when they're with other people, they don't like you. Number 5, if they're consistently too busy to speak to you, they don't like you. Number 6, you deserve to spend your time with people who like you. Number 7, if they care about you, being honest about how you feel won't scare them away. Number 8, if they don't care about you, suppressing your feelings won't make them stay. Number 9, trying to be something you're not will only highlight the parts of yourself you're trying to hide.
Number 10, cool looks a million different ways.
But it's mutually exclusive with inauthenticity. Number 11, you know what's cooler than being cool?
Being nice.
Number 12, your biggest regrets will be the times you mistreated people. Number 13, people includes yourself. Number 14, you will regret the things you didn't try to do.
So much more than the things you tried to do and failed.
Number 15, stop watching what I eat in a day videos. Number 16, delete the calorie tracking app. Number 17, life is way too short to spend it waiting for the next time you'll allow yourself to eat. Number 18, your body will eventually force you to slow down, so choose to while you still have a choice. Number 19, there's a difference between having goals and being consumed by everything you're not.
Number 20,
Your discipline doesn't have to be a weapon you use against yourself. It can be a tool you use to love yourself. Number 21, your social anxiety manifests as you being mean sometimes, and that is something you can work on.
Number 22, notice things that people who make you feel good when you talk to them do, and start doing those things when you talk to other people.
Number 23, focus less on being original and more on being yourself. Number 24, maturity isn't about how you dress or how expensive your taste is. It's about your communication and conflict navigation skills. Number 25, but the best communication in the world won't make someone hear you if they're committed to misunderstanding you. Number 26, you will not stop harboring resentment until you learn the difference between things you can get over without a conversation and things you can't. Number 27, being happy is the only real revenge. Number 28, it's okay to just admit you're intimidated by someone. You don't have to make up things not to like about them. Number 29. I know they're inconvenient. I know you're busy, but get the dog anyway. Number 30.
Sometimes you have to lose people so you can come back to them in a healthier way.
Number 31. Be present is probably the most trite advice on the planet, and it's also the only thing that matters. You will never be 20 again. You will never be 25 again. You will never be 31 again. You will never get this day of your life back. Once it's gone, please live it.
Y'all are gonna fuck around and turn George Santos into a cultural icon. Keep playing. George Santos isn't, yes, honey, slay the house down, boots, 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 or whatever the fuck. This guy was a villain. People are out here being like, oh my god, I wanna see a 𝗩𝗂𝗶𝗎𝗧 George Santos collab. Girl, no you don't. So how do you feel about 𝗍𝗂 interviewing him? Believe it or not, yes, I actually wanna see that. Because it's 𝗍𝗂. But you all have sis out there making $200 a video on Cameo. Wasn't Georgie like anti-drag? And now you have him out here giving Botox tips to the girlies. Like this guy wasn't on some anti-LGBTQ shit for months. Be careful, because give this fucker enough collabs. Give him enough pop culture points. I give him 3 months before he comes out and says, oh my god, guys, call me Democritus because I'm a Democrat now. Sista will become a bona fide Democrat simply because it's getting him the most cultural clout. And yeah, you may want to argue that sis may have been blue this whole time and was hopping on the red train for some press and as a smart career move. No, hopping into politics and directing policy, people's lives isn't just, oh my god, I'm making girl boss moves. You're fucking with policy. You're fucking with people's lives. That isn't cute. George isn't our friend. Yes, he's doing cameos right now. Go ahead, enjoy them while it's a meme, but let the meme happen and let it die. Becoming a politician for clout isn't a strategy. Anyway, rhinoplasty update. The cast comes off tomorrow at 10 a.m.
How to cover up a hickey. Don't be sick, this was a lip tint. I'm a civilized person.
Well...
You can treat this like dark circles as well if you have really bad ones. But first you go in with the color corrector. Most of the time hickeys are a dark purple, and if you know anything about art, you would do the opposite to balance it out. The opposite color of dark purple or blue is an orangey yellow. Peach, any of them work. You can use a lipstick too. That's just one layer. Then you have to set this with powder so it doesn't move, because there's no point in doing this if one swipe will just wipe it off. And you want to take a full coverage concealer. If it's less hydrating, even better, because you want this to dry down. I prefer a puff or a brush because they don't add more moisture, and make sure you blend it all the way around. Then you set it again. I've only done this once because I will not judge you if you have one. Some people get down in life. Let them do what they want. The other time that I wore a scarf, my friend instantly took it off of me because he knew. Because I don't wear scarves. Boom, wet hickey. So just save this in case you need it for your next session. Or maybe you got bruised somewhere very inconvenient. That being said, let people get hickeys. Let people show off their hickeys. Hickeys are great. Hickeys feel great. No one should be ashamed of their hickeys.
I'm polyamorous and I'm part of an extended polycule, and I went to their Christmas party last night. They told me that I was hard to buy for because I'm the kind of person that sees something and when I want something I buy it for myself. But I really don't think they could have outdone themselves even more than they already did on the Christmas present that they got me. In this box I hold my newest prized possession. To preface this with a little trigger warning, I am a witch and I collect dead things because I like oddities. So without further ado, I was given a skull. And not just any skull. They got me a goose skull because I'm their silly little goose.
A renter-friendly reality check where we undo all of the things I did in my apartment to see if they were truly renter-friendly.
This pink tile to the floor about 4 years ago. At first I was really pleased that it never peeled up. I wonder if it not peeling up is because it's really permanently bonded to the floor. So let's go.
You sad?
I'm sad. Okay, this is 100% thumbs up. This is renter friendly. There is nothing, no residue, no stickiness, no nothing. These are coming up so easy. I can't believe it. So weird.
Video, what I want to talk about, the bad parts of testosterone.
I have a lot to say about this video, so buckle the fuck up. My name's Sasha, I'm transgender, and I've been on T for the past 6 years. This person did reply to my comment on their video and said, oh, I worded stuff wrong. Your video has over 3 million views. It could scare the fuck out of a lot of trans kids. Roll the tape.
I just want you to be educated before you take that next step, because your doctors aren't going to tell you, trans people on TikTok aren't going to tell you.
My doctors gave me a lot of information about T, and a lot of doctors do. The blanket statement saying that doctors aren't giving you this information hurts trans people.
Once you get on testosterone and your vocal cords start to thicken skin, and it's kind of gonna feel like you're choking, harder to breathe, hurt to talk.
When my voice dropped from tea, I experienced no choking, no shortness of breath, and it never hurt to talk.
Your singing voice is gonna be gone. You're not gonna be able to sing at all.
4 years into tea, I was on The Voice, you know, the show with like the red spinny chairs, and I got chair turns from Ariana Grande and Kelly Clarkson. He didn't say I couldn't sing.
They're gonna tell you about bottom growth. They're not gonna tell you that hurts bad, and it always will. It's gonna make everything sexual not feel pleasurable anymore.
Bottom growth can be like kind of sensitive. It's literally your privates. In my experience, it actually never hurt. So to say that it will always hurt and that you will never experience pleasure is so insanely irresponsible and scary. It is untrue. You can go on testosterone and have a lovely intimate life.
You'll start to go through this thing called vaginal atrophy. That can cause sepsis, and that can kill you.
Vaginal atrophy is like a thing, but when you mentioned sepsis and death, you could have also mentioned that it's treatable. You can go to a doctor at treatment for it. You're not talking about these things realistically.
Your fertility is most definitely going to be affected if you are on testosterone.
True.
Testosterone for a long time can cause issues with your urinary tract. You're gonna lose control of your bladder. You're gonna pee yourself a lot.
Peeing yourself. That's a fucking new one. I'm not gonna go and say no one's experienced this, but the way you are phrasing everything in this video, you are acting like this is gonna happen. I've never fucking experienced this. You're talking in absolutes. You're saying shit that is not true. This video has over 3 million views, and it could discourage a young person from receiving life-saving treatment. You could have made this video talking about your experience and like not done it like this. Over 3 million views.
Plenty of other options. I don't know, pick up the phone and call the po-po.
Excuse this pimple cream on my lip. A dentist pulled out all of her teeth. Doctors prescribed all of those medications she was taking. Anti-seizure medication she was taking. Her mother did not just find a random wheelchair on the street. That was given to her by a medical practitioner. Sick kids gave them their home with a wheelchair accessible ramp. I'm gonna say it one more time. A dentist pulled out all of her teeth. Do you genuinely and also seriously think that this was a situation in which she could have called up the po-po and been like, I've been abused my whole life? When her mother has medical records on her side, a closet filled with 𝗍𝗄𝗎's prescriptions? No one deserves to be murdered. And 𝗍𝗄𝗎 is the first one to tell you that she wishes she didn't murder her mother. But I genuinely can't believe people are still making this take nowadays. Let my girl be free.
Darling! Guess who's back from jail? That's right, baby! Daddy's home from prison! I've been dreaming about this moment for the past 16 years! Yes, yes, yes! And I miss you, my love! Darling! What is your location? What are you doing right now? Tell me right now! Put your Uber driver on the phone! Put him on the phone! Okay, darling, well, your location will do. Okay, just know, Daddy's back from jail, and he's coming for you.